Yep.
Did you get hurt?
Oh, I got hurt bad. I went to the hospital. Yep. Yep. There's this misconception that Tupac and me had a fight. It wasn't that. And that's how it ended.
It was retribution. It was some
Yeah,
sort
yeah. He said on MTV, he said it. He said on MTV, on Yo MTV Raps, I'm looking for those guys. And when I catch them, like, that's how I won the court case, because he didn't keep his mouth shut. And eventually, you know, when he got out of prison, before he went to prison, he apologized in Vibe magazine. Famously, he apologized to Quincy Jones as well.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm making the movie, I see interviews that I had never seen before with Tabitha Soren on MTV, where he went on, not only apologized, said he hoped that he can work with us. He thought we were great filmmakers. I never heard this before. And I'm just glad I did the project because, you know, like Snoop's in the film as well. Snoop was really tight with Tupac. As men, we've grown, and you have these misunderstandings as boys. And it may be ego, it may be whatever's involved, but to get to a place where you go, what happened? You know, and I was just curious, you know, like what happened? How did this happen, you know?
So that's the conflicted feeling when, I guess, was it brought to you that you would be the one to direct a documentary on Tupac and his mom? I mean, or...
Not like that.
Okay.
The estate approached me about directing a Tupac documentary. I went home for 3 days. I did not want to do it. I go, let me think about this. And then I had that aha moment with the mother.
So you're the one who came up with the concept of let's find out who he was through the prison of his mom.
Yep.
Why?
Yep.
Why?
I think
it's your own...
It's personal to me.
Right.
You know, and I'm not even a closet feminist. I'm a feminist. I'm just wired. That's how I was raised. As hardcore as Afeni was about social justice and black issues in the community and breakfast programs and rent strikes and everything she was involved in.
Yes.
My mother was that radical about women's rights, and I'm wired like that. I you know, I hear when men call a woman girl, it hits me like a bad note. You know, I hear things like a woman, so I see things that way, and that's probably why I did it. You know.
Why did the estate reach out to you? Did they? I mean,
bold. Yeah.
Don't you think? I mean,
yeah. I mean, they came in to edit. I did a docu-series before this one called The Defiant One.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that, by the way.
Oh man,
is that how you booked Dr. Dre? You're right. You're right.
Oh my God.
You already had the end.
And that was like that did so well, and it was great. But Tupac, there was a part 3 he was heavily featured in part 3, so the estate had to come and approve things.
Yes.
And it was not simple. They were the only estate that came down in the editing room for 5 hours, and it was a tug of war.
They were in the edit room?
They came in the edit room like, you got to take this out, or, you know, negotiated this or that. They were tough. And I understand now they both walked out, the 2 individuals that were from the executive estate who are still there. They were like, you know what? Wow. They enjoyed the experience, and they saw what the show did and how it was a fresh angle on him and take, and they called me a year later.
Alan Hugh'S here on the Rich Eisen Show. Fascinating, man. Dear Mama, again, about Tupac and his mother on FX tonight, and then it'll be on Hulu the next day. You can watch that right here on the Roku platform. So who was your favorite to interview for this documentary?
Snoop is always my favorite to interview because he's become such a wise sage, and he's such a... I've never met a rock star that can listen with the depth he listens and then add to it. He listens with his heart, and usually these rock stars, they tend to they listen with their ego.
Yeah.
So I'm always, and I go back with Snoop 30 years, but still I'm always leave him when my tank fills up. I feel inspired. I feel like I learned something. But outside of Snoop, I think Tupac's aunt Glo, Afeni's only sister, is the revelation as far as storytellers. She is an incredible woman. She just turned 78 yesterday. And in this film, you're like, oh my God, this runs in the family. The honesty, the charisma, the humor. So his aunt, Gloria Cox is her real name, but we call her Glo. Yeah.
So you liked...
That's my favorite.
So she would tell you stories about his upbringing and just kind of the person who you could drive that storytelling through.
She was the one... like the fish rots from the head, or lives from the head.
Right.
She's the head. And before I interviewed her on camera, I went to Atlanta and she cooked me some of Tupac's favorite meals, particularly fried chicken, and mashed potatoes, and potato salad, and all that good stuff that's not good for us that she does so well. And we talked over dinner. And I just was taken with her spirit. She reminds me of Snoop. They have that thing in common. They're great storytellers, very grounded, very salt of the earth, almost mystical in her storytelling abilities, but didn't know that because she never had to be in the spotlight. She was always behind Afeni willingly, and Tupac, but she had to come out and was forced to tell her sister's story because Afeni passed away in 16, unfortunately.
I love Snoop. He's one of my favorite people that I've gotten to meet. He's been here on the show. I just love his, I got to meet him through his love of football.
Yep.
And through NFL Network that way, and his youth coaching, and him going up against Dion's teams every now and then, and for a Snooper Bowl, the Super Bowl. He was so kind about wanting to be part of my charity run. Wanted to put me in a certain, I think he had Adidas shoe line or something like that, and there was a whole to-do about, it wasn't an official sponsor of the event, so I couldn't run in those shoes, and it kind of gutted me that I couldn't involve him in something so important and so charitable, because he does have that heart. I love him. I love that guy.
He is. I always say he took the baton from Muhammad Ali when it comes to that worldwide, global feeling of understanding and connectivity and love.